ASER has been reporting on the changing status of elementary education in India since 2005. 2016 marks the release of the 11th Annual Status of Education report after a gap of 1 year. As with previous years, the report covers three major aspects of the status of education: enrollment and attendance, levels of reading and math achievement, and school facilities. This survey was carried out in 589 of India's rural districts, covering over 350,000 households and over 550,000 children. The 100-day process started in September 2016 with training, followed by the actual survey in the field. The survey process was followed by a rigorous recheck activity. Data was received and entered at designated data entry points, with findings compiled and analyzed at ASER Center in New Delhi. Enrollment across the country has continued to increase. Enrollment has increased from 96.7% in 2014 to 96.9% in 2016 for 6 to 14-year-olds. However, in some states, the fraction of out-of-school children has gone up. While enrollment has gone up overall, there has been virtually no increase in overall national private school enrollment at 30.5% in 2016. This is the first time in 10 years that an increase has not been reported at the national level. However, private enrollment has gone up in several states, while it has reduced in many others. While enrollment continues to increase year on year, children's attendance shows no major change since 2014. In 2016, 71.4% of children enrolled in primary grades were present on the day of the visit. This figure stood at 73.2% for upper primary children. Attendance still continues to remain lower than 2009 levels for both primary and upper primary grades. Also, as in previous years, considerable variation continues to exist in children's attendance levels across the country. For the most part, improvement in school facilities has continued as with previous years. Significant progress has been made in the availability of usable toilets since 2010. In 2016, 68.7% of schools visited nationally had usable toilets available. The proportion of schools with available and usable girls' toilets has gone up from 32.9% in 2010 to 55.7% in 2014, standing at 61.9% in 2016. The provision of schools with libraries has shown a decline, with the proportion of schools without libraries increasing from 21.9% in 2014 to 24.5% in 2016. However, in 2016, children were seen using library books in more schools than in 2014. While attendance levels remain stagnant and infrastructure availability improves, the composition of schools continues to change. In 2016, close to 40% of the government primary schools visited had total enrollment of less than 60 students, up from 26.1% in 2009. This figure has been steadily increasing year on year. The percentage of multi-grade classrooms has also increased. In 2010, 55.2% of Standard 2 classes sat with other grades. This proportion rose to 63.7% in 2016. For Standard 4 classes, the increase is from 49% in 2010 to 58% in 2016. In the scenario of increasing proportions of multi-grade classrooms, stagnant attendance levels, and overall increase in enrollment, the key question is, are children learning? ASER 2016 shows that nationally, reading ability has improved, especially in early grades in government schools. The proportion of Standard 3 children who are able to read a Standard 2 level text has gone up slightly from 23.6% in 2014 to 25.2% in 2016. For government school children, this proportion has gone up from 17.2% in 2014 to 19.3% in 2016. This proportion for private school children has remained virtually unchanged, meaning that overall improvements were driven by improvements in government school outcomes. In many states, there have been significant improvements in learning levels for children in early grades in government schools. Reading levels for children in Standard 5 are almost the same year on year from 2011 to 2016. In 2016, in fact, a slight dip in levels of children in government schools is visible. A slight decline in reading levels is also visible for Standard 8 for both government and private schools. While basic arithmetic levels continue to be low across the country, this is the first year that there is a visible upward trend in figures for early grades. The proportion of Standard 3 children able to do a two-digit subtraction has increased from 25.4% in 2014 to 27.7% in 2016. As with reading, this improvement has come primarily from government schools, showing an increase of 3 percentage points. At the national level, arithmetic levels for Standard 5 have remained practically unchanged. However, the ability of Standard 8 students to do division has continued to drop. This declining trend since 2010 shows that in 2016, only 43.3% of children in Standard 8 were able to do a 3-digit by 1-digit division problem, down from 44.2% 2 years ago. As India gears up to adopt a new education policy, a continued focus is needed on improving learning outcomes for our children. Efforts of several state governments seem to be making an impact on learning levels of at least the early primary grades. These efforts can be strengthened, expanded, and scaled up significantly, with special focus needed on learning and growth in upper primary grades and beyond. Let's work together to make schooling equal learning.